Hey guys, PennyPacher here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a short video on what I call situational trading methods. And there's three different methods specifically that I want to talk about. And what I mean by situational trading methods is it's something that's always changing. You'll probably notice that while you're trying to trade on this game, whatever method you were using at some point might feel like it stops working. And that's because the market is morphing. It's changing. It's always changing. Each and every week there's multiple factors that go into the market and why a card might go up in value or down in value. And the first one I want to talk about is SBC based trading. And what I mean by SBCs is during promotions, team of the year, headliners, right now it's headliners, they release SBCs for certain cards. And I wanted to talk about one in particular. One example from the Italian League that was just released this week, I ended up doing him, as I think pretty much everybody did this card, is Chris Smalling. Right? This Chris Smalling card was somewhere around 30K to complete, and if you had untradeable cards, he's basically free. Super easy card to complete. And he's very linkable. He's an English guy in the Italian League. Very, very attractive stats when it comes to pace, defending, physical, all good things. So everyone did this card. Why that's important is because of the effect it had on the market in terms of other defenders in the Italian League. So I wanted to look at the concept players here and help you guys understand. Actually, right here on the top row, this Chris Smalling card sort of, in a way, replaced this Koulibaly, right? Chris Smalling has better pace and comparable defending and physical stats. And this Koulibaly is not very linkable when it comes to playing him in a hybrid with any cards outside the Italian League. So Chris Smalling was a much more attractive card in that sense. So the reason it's important is because you started to see panic selling on this Koulibaly card. Now, I wasn't complaining because you can actually make a ton of coins when people are panic selling cards. So this Koulibaly card, which was going for about 80K at the time, then he started dropping below 70. He dropped down around 65, something like that. I was able to pick up a few of them, and I was just flipping Koulibaly cards for a good portion of the day. I probably picked up about 10 to 12 of them and sold each of them for a 4 to 5K profit, while people were panic selling him on that first day after the Chris Smalling SBC came out. At the same time, while Koulibaly was going down, and you could argue some of these other Italian defenders were affected as well. The reason why I use Koulibaly is because he was one of the top-rated defenders in the league. Still is one of the top-rated defenders. But then this Juan Jesus card, this Europa League live item, Juan Jesus, he was going up. Now the difference being, why would this card go up while Koulibaly is going down? It's interesting because, well, one, this guy's a live item, and he's going to have a slightly better value just for being a live item. I get that. He's also Brazilian, better nation, etc. Very good pace. But the biggest reason why Juan Jesus went up that day was because he's strong links to Chris Smalling in terms of chemistry. So just paying attention to that aspect of chemistry, who the card links to, right? Who does Chris Smalling get a strong link to? The same could be said for the... this is his first inform. Kolarov also gets a strong link into Juan Jesus. So Kolarov isn't the most desirable card because he's slow, but he also rose slightly that day. That's his first inform, and his second inform is up here. This is the better version of Kolarov right here. So both of those cards were impacted positively when Chris Smalling came out. That's an example from the here and now. This is what happened this week, and I was able to take advantage of that, and I was able to get a couple of Juan Jesus cards. I didn't trade with him a lot. I mostly was able to leverage the panic selling of Koulibaly. I did better with that, so that's what I went for. But that's just one example of many. There's some going on right now. There's been plenty in the past. I'm going to show you guys one other one from earlier this year. Let's just go to the Spanish League. Oop, I don't want concept players on. There we go. So this PK card that I was able to complete, this was important because he came out during the screen promo, obviously, and he was super cheap for the value of card you got at that time of the year. He had decent pace. You can tell his defending is still good enough to play this day. I'll still come across this card every once in a while, not nearly as often as I did in October, November, but you'll still see him every once in a while because he's a solid defender. The reason why I wanted to use this example is because the day that this SBC dropped, something very interesting happened to Jordi Alba, this card right here. This guy, let's scroll down a little bit. You guys will see. Look at this spike right here, right? I haven't seen anything like this. Even with like the Chris Smalling thing, you saw rises in Juan Jesus and in Kolarov and whatnot, but nothing like this. This was insanity. The reason why is because Jordi Alba and PK give each other a perfect link, which is even better than the strong link, right? So this guy shot up from 50K all the way to 80K, above 80K in one day. And you saw me, you saw the card back on the console. I was all about that SBC as well, and I went out and bought a Jordi Alba. I think I ended up paying 60K. I was able to get in before the hype really just hit its maximum. And then I was able to buy a couple Jordi Albas throughout the day and sell them for 5 to 10K profit, whatever it was. I was probably buying them around 75 and selling them at like 82 or something. You're able to really leverage hype on these cards when they initially come out. Not the cards for the SBC specifically, but the cards that link to them, right? Other cards that might have been impacted from the PK SBC was somebody like David De Gea, right? A goalkeeper from the English league, but that also links to PK. He would have taken a small little bump upward as well. So just paying attention to the SBCs that are coming out each and every time EA release them, and thinking about what cards link to them, what people might be selling or buying because of that specific SBC. That's important, okay? Please pay attention to that. And I can only give you so many pointers right here and now, but think about it when the future ones come out, about their linkability and how it's going to impact other cards. All right. Second method I want to talk about is objective base, right? Let's go look at all the objectives that they had for icon swaps, weekly objectives, this headliners play a card. For example, you got to score with Bundesliga and League One players, so you're going to see, when these objectives hit, you're going to see small little rises in Bundesliga and League One top end cards, right? So when I think of especially the French-based ones, because I think there's another objective here where you have to score with with French players in 4 separate rivals matches. So looking at French League One and Bundesliga players, those guys are just gonna go up in value because of these objectives. At least temporarily, for the first day or two while these objectives are out, people are going to be all about them. Let's look at icon swaps. This is another one. Not the first owner objectives, because that doesn't impact the market at all. You can't complete these objectives with players bought off the market, so it really doesn't impact the market at all. But let's go look at, I already did the single player ones. Right here, Portuguese players and Eredivisie players. When this objective dropped, I guarantee you the best Eredivisie players gained significantly in value for a day or two. It's not valid anymore because this objective's been out for a couple weeks now, and most everyone's completed it that's wanted to do it. So it is what it is now. But paying attention to these objectives when they come out is important. So yeah, there was that one for the Eredivisie and for Portuguese players. Both types of cards would have gone up significantly during the initial release of these objectives. That's another one. Just be aware of those. If you're paying attention to those, you won't go wrong. All right. Third and last one I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah. Marquee matchups. The SBCs themselves. When you're going to complete SBCs, And it's not just marquee matchups. It's for any SBC that comes out. Sometimes they require Spanish players. Sometimes they require Brazilian players, or multiple Brazilian players, or players from certain leagues with certain rating levels. Whatever, they're going to go up in value whenever any particular SBC comes up. So let's look at David Luiz. You can see right here. I'm not doing David Luiz. I have no intention of doing this SBC. I already have really top-end center backs. But this one's not going to matter too much because it only needs one Brazilian player. But you get the idea of, depending on what the requirements are for an SBC, that can drive some of the market as well. Marquee matchups, though, is the one specifically that I wanted to talk about. I do marquee matchups every week, and what I try to do is predict what marquee matchups are going to be. Typically, there's always one from the Premier League. I think this last week it was Manchester United versus Liverpool, and you would have seen the value of those players for those teams go up significantly, at least the low-end players, right? You would have seen them go from maybe 1,000 coins to 2,000 coins instantly. The second the marquee matchups drops, they just go up in value because everyone's doing the SBC immediately as soon as it drops, and the value of these cards goes up temporarily, only for a few hours. But if you're able to time it and predict it right, you can buy 100 Liverpool or Manchester United players and sell them the day that the marquee matchups comes out for basically 100% profit. You can turn 100K into 200K instantly. All you have to do is take a look at what the schedule is in the Premier League and see what big teams are playing each other that week. This week is Manchester United versus Liverpool. I think in a week from tomorrow it's going to be... I don't think there is any for the Premier League this week. There's going to be some set of marquee matchups. I pay attention to the Premier League. I'm sure there's going to be stuff going on for other leagues, but a week from now, it's going to be Manchester City versus Tottenham, right? So I'll probably end up stocking up on Manchester City and Tottenham players a week from today. I'll try to buy 50 plus of them, all for 800 to 1,000 coins each, and I'll sell them for 2,000 coins the next day, just to take some instant profit that way. That's another really important tip in terms of situational trading. Understanding and knowing what marquee matchups are going to be before they happen. Now, I didn't mention this, but there's actually a fourth method that I want to talk about as well. You'll probably notice during any promotions that are going on that there are lightning rounds, right? They do lightning rounds at whatever, like 6 p.m. GMT time, so Great Britain time, right? It's a really good opportunity to be able to grab a lot of coins as well, because what you'll see is the market will get flooded with 84, 85, 86 rated players from people opening packs, and regardless of what players they are, if they're 84 or 85 rated, they're going to be good for SBCs if they're not being used. So there's always value in those types of cards, and you see them very cheap during lightning rounds because the market gets flooded with all of these players, and they're being sold for 30-40% less than what they're actually worth, because once the lightning rounds are over, the supply dies down, people are doing their SBCs, and the supply dries up. So naturally, if the supply goes down, the demand isn't going down either. The supply is going down, but the demand is not. Therefore, the prices are going to go up. So every single time they have lightning rounds, you can see cards like, let's think of a good one. Azpilicueta was one that I've used in the past. I would pick him up for 6, 7, 8K and flip him for 11K later that day, right? And you can do it with, depending on how many coins you have, you can do multiple at a time and really just start churning out the profit really, really quick if you're able to identify when the lightning rounds are. It does also require committing to be on the market and trading during lightning rounds. And that's not always a possibility for me. I do have a full-time job, and I can't do that every day, but the principle still applies, right? Just trying to take advantage of the lightning rounds whenever they're happening. And it was crazy there for a while with Team of the Year, and Headliners still somewhat is created some of this frenzy during the lightning rounds. So take advantage of that as well. Other than that, there's not much else I wanted to talk about, but since we are kind of new on the scene here, I wanted to take you guys through my club and actually just talk about some of the key players that I've got over time. And this is obviously my Foot Champs like meta team. Meta, of course it's meta. It's all Team of the Year players. So let's just go through it and take a look at each of these guys. You can see what I've paid for them and how much I've used, the goal returns, etc. So my starting club, I had to get Sadio Mane. I bought him. He's actually the only Team of the Year player that I bought on day one. I was able to get him for $2.7 million, which was a really good price at the time. And he's been my rock star in terms of goal output. He's got like 160 goal contributions in 77 games. Just incredible. And by the way, I am OCD about this. You can see that there's only 2 owners on these cards, and they've never played for any other club but mine. And truthfully, they're probably never going to play for any other club but mine, because when I buy a player, I will not sell it. At least these type of players, Team of the Year players, I will not sell them unless for some reason they have a better version of their card when Team of the Season comes out, which is not very likely. So, yeah, these cards are mine for the duration of the year. You'll never see them hit the market. So, yeah, Sadio Mane. This Bernardo Silva SBC I was able to do relatively cheaply. I had a bunch of SBC fodder goalkeepers that I had to get rid of, so I dumped them into the Bernardo Silva SBC. I was sort of indifferent about doing this one. He didn't like really wow me, but for the price at the time and considering all the stuff I had in the club, I was able to do him for pretty cheap. So I'm not disappointed with it. The one thing that I will say about this card is his strength is kind of a big letdown. He falls off the ball really easily, and his shooting is not what I would call stellar. Like, his shooting has been disappointing at times. Other than that, great pace, good agility, great dribbling. Passing's decent as well. Only complaints are strength and shooting. So it is what it is. At some point, he might get replaced by a Team of the Season Aguero, or I suppose I could get like some kind of French icon like Thierry Henry or something and put him up top, and I would swap De Bruyne and Conte around to maintain chemistry. But for now, he gives the strong link to De Bruyne, so we're all on full chem there. All things are good. I think it's only him and De Ligt that are slightly off chem at both 7 and 8. Everybody else is on 10 chemistry. So let's move on to Messi. This guy, it's a little annoying. I had to pay 4.2 million coins for him, but he was a really good price at the time I bought him. I obviously bought him during the Team of the Year event. I think he's down to 3.8 mil right now, so not too bad. Again, second owner card. He's almost got a goal per game, right? But overall, 128 goal contributions in 71 games. It's pretty good. De Bruyne he's got to be in my top 3 favorite cards of this entire team. I think Messi, De Bruyne, and Van Dijk are my favorite players on this team. And then probably Sadio Mane, because he's just a goal-scoring machine for me. But De Bruyne, this guy is the most complete box-to-box midfielder in the entire game. And the number one reason to just love this guy is that 5-star weak foot. Like, I can't get enough of that 5-star weak foot. It's just amazing. The guy can do anything. De Jong is an interesting one. I actually picked him up a few days after Team of the Year ended because I did not have enough coins to buy everyone, so I had to make an exception, and De Jong got left out. However, 5 days after Team of the Year ended, somebody listed a fresh one. It was a first owner, fresh, unplayed with De Jong, and I did overpay about 80,000 coins for him because he's like worth a little over 1.6. So I overpaid for him, but I was able to get a fresh one. I was more than willing to pay an extra 80,000 coins to get a fresh card that hadn't been used yet. Just because, like I said, I'm OCD about stuff like this. N'Golo Kante, as a Chelsea fan, I mean, I got this guy's jersey. I got two N'Golo Kante jerseys. I love this guy. I love not just how he plays in game, but I love this guy as a person. He's one of the most humble guys you'll ever meet, yet he is by far the most accomplished and most talented CDM in the world. N'Golo Kante, you can't say enough about him. He was already probably the best CDM as a normal gold card. Then they released his Road to the Final card, and now it's Team of the Year, and there is no better CDM in this game. You won't find one. So, yeah, let's move on to the back line. Robertson, very disappointing with the 2-star weak foot, but that's my only gripe about this card. He's come in very handy for me. He hasn't scored at all. I don't think I've scored anything with him. I've taken a few shots with him. His finishing is pretty dang terrible, though, so you can't really expect too much from him on the shooting department. But he does great defensively. And Van Dijk, holy cow. I have switched around my team a little bit, or subbed this guy in as a CDM. Now, you might think that's a little weird, but I look at his stats. There's no reason why you can't play him as a CDM. The dude can shoot, he can pass, he can dribble. He has literally everything you could possibly want, especially with that pace boost up to 88. Like, the dude is just incredible. There's no wonder why this guy's 3 million coins. De Ligt is really cool because he actually fits into the team. Like, he's not a Premier League player, but he's able to link to De Jong and Van Dijk and my Zanetti card over here, so he fits in just fine. I do have him on 8 cam. He doesn't get perfect chemistry, but at least I have him up at 8, and I got to tell you, this guy's undervalued. I think he's worth about 850K right now, and you couldn't ask for a cheaper price on a defender that has those stats. He's done great. I haven't used him as CDM or anything like that. You probably could, but no, he's a beast at center back for me. Now, Prime Zanetti, he is still holding down that right back spot for me. I thought about getting Trent, and you can obviously see for chemistry purposes it wouldn't really work because I need this strong link up to Messi. That's why Zanetti is in the club. But I got him from icon swaps, knowing full well that my team was going to look similar to this a month ago. Like, I kind of just predicted this in my mind, that Zanetti was the only player from Icon Swaps 1 that was worth getting for me because of his strong link to Messi and the fact that he's really one of the only top-end right backs in the entire game, right? Other than the Team of the Year, Arnold. Try to think of another high-end right back, right? I suppose Kyle Walker, informed Kyle Walker, headliners Kyle Walker is, getting pretty good as well. But outside of, the 2, 3, or 4 high-end right backs, there's really nobody. And since I had Zanetti already in the club, I decided I didn't need Arnold. Then when I went to buy this Alisson card, I was like, okay, I'm going to put 450K into a goalkeeper. And I was like, I don't know about that. But I'm actually very impressed with this guy. He's done awesome for me. I was using De Gea or Ter Stegen before, and I got to tell you that this Alisson card is very much impressed me at least. Others might have a different opinion, but truth be told, I think he's pretty amazing. Then you can kind of see some of the objectives I've completed, SBCs that I've done. I did this Modric card because at the time I had a Modric card untradeable. Modric isn't worth a lot, but since I had a Modric untradeable, I figured I'd submit him and get his Christmas card instead, or Footmas card. I did the Politano objectives for the Italian League. Then they re-released the Schweinsteiger SBC. I did him. Again, most of these SBCs that I've done have been super cheap because you just dump untradables into this stuff and it's pretty easy to do. I did the objectives for Iniesta, Ziyech, Perisic I was able to get from last season. Checo objectives I did during Scream. Alex Telles, this is fun. Alex Telles is actually the only decent red pick that I've gotten all year. He's one that frequently makes appearances in my team as a substitute. He's a very good defensive option as a substitute. So yeah, he's my one good red pick that I've gotten all year. Right? If you were to pick up this in form, it's like 100K. So I can't complain about that, but I'll complain about all my other ones. All my other red picks have been trash. So let's actually look at the rest of our club. I don't know what other cards we have in here. We did the Thiago Silva Player of the Month SBC. I already told you about Piqué. Yeah, we did a lot of these MLS and La Liga and Premier League Player of the Months. We did the objective for Tagliafico. Santi Cazorla was free to get. So was Ozil. Corona was super cheap. He was only like 10K. That's a great card to have for the price. Holy cow. And this card's still alive. If FC Porto continue to do well, he's going to be a rock. Iago Aspas. I did an 86 plus SBC upgrade, whatever you want to call it. Submitted all my red picks, and I got Iago Aspas out of that. Total trash. So disappointed with that. Bugalia was free. Oxlade-Chamberlain I picked at the end of last season. Told you about Smalling. Yeah, this Tomiyasu guy, I just picked him up. I think he's cool because he's got the 5-star weak foot as well. For a center back, that's pretty rare. And then, yeah, Ruslan, he was actually kind of a pain in the butt to get, I remember. But I did him. He was good. Promise, I did his SBC when they re-released it because it was super cheap, like 20K or something. And I think that's about it. Yeah. Nothing else really too exciting here. So I try to keep my club pretty clean of clutter, and always I'm turning over whatever players I don't want, putting them in SBCs or whatever, because I don't like having hundreds of players in my club all the time. I find it annoying. So yeah, I just keep the guys around that I still want. That's most of my club for now. Anyways, thanks guys for joining the channel today. Gave you guys a little walkthrough of the club, and we were able to talk about situational trading methods. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave me a comment and ask. I'm happy to answer. I'll make myself as available as I can on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. So I'm PennyPacher. Thanks for joining, and we will see you next time. Take care. Bye.